So the way this works is, first off, obviously we want to see you. Be aware that there are guests on the call. For the guests who have arrived and are just watching this is a post-workshop get-together, and we are getting together over Zoom, so welcome. If you have any questions or anything like that at any time, there's two ways to ask questions. At the bottom on the side of your screen there, you can either raise your hand, or in one of those, in case of emergency, just turn on your video and just wave your hand at the screen so that we can see that your hand is up. And the way it works is essentially anyone can ask anyone questions. And of course, keep your questions respectable, and at the same time, make sure that they are direct. And the way it's going to work is, first off, I want to hear from you guys. And as we've discussed, Breakthrough is not necessarily a, let's call it a motivational course, in the way of, we're just here to motivate you. So some of us have experienced a very high week. Some of us are having a bit of a rough time. And what I'd like us all to do is just be open and honest. It's however your week's been, and just for the guests, introduce yourself, let them know your name, and tell us, what was life like before your breakthrough? How did you experience your breakthrough? If you have any questions after breakthrough, and what life is like now after your breakthrough. And as I said, just be open. The only thing is, please be in mind the games that we play and the answers. Don't give away those answers. Keep the processes confidential. And just for the guests on the call, there's nothing secret what we do here. The thing is, we go through process and we play games, and some of those games have an answer. So we're not hiding anything from you. We just, it's just a confidentiality thing. And of course, if you ever attend, you will see why. And through those games, you actually have a fantastic experience. So the way it's going to work is, everyone at the moment, keep your microphones muted. Makes life a lot easier. And someone goes first. You unmute your microphone, and whoever goes first obviously gets to choose the next person. And at the same time, we spend our time together. This is not about milking anything. And on this other side of it, if there are serious questions or there are things to discuss, let's discuss them. So the floor is yours. The floor is open. Taskia, you're busy smiling. You're gonna have to go first. Yeah, and you're the first on the list. You're like the first on the screen.
I had a feeling it was going to be me.
Well, it's a big smile like that, so why not?
Okay, so my week, basically, there's been ups, there's been downs, but overall, I'm feeling good. I think I've been looking at things very differently, but in a good way. But yes, there is certain times where I have been a little bit down, but not to the point of where I can't pick myself up again. So overall, I think I have been feeling good throughout the week. So I'm good. I'm good. Much better than I was before breakthrough, if I can say that.
No, you can definitely say that. You can say that a lot. I mean, you came back, you've almost done breakthrough twice, because the last time you only enjoyed the first evenings. Are you glad you came back and completed the process?
Definitely. I think for me, the highlight of all of it was on the third night. Definitely on the third night. So I've been good.
When you say glad that you came back, do you think that the last few days of breakthrough actually made a difference? Most of the time, people say to me, "Now, you run this on a Wednesday, Thursday, and a Friday, and a Saturday." So I'll tell you what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just pop in on the Thursday, and then next breakthrough, I'm going to pop in for the Wednesday, and then I'm going to collect all the information like that. Do you think that that's actually possible?
No, definitely not. Like I say, if I had to compare the first time that I went for the 2 days compared to now, it's a world of difference. Like I say, the second time, I did take in quite a bit more than I did the first time. It was easier to understand, but the last 2 days as well. And it actually makes a big difference that it's one day after the other. and not like spread apart. We one day a week as opposed to the one day after the other.
I agree. It's
So
kind of like
yeah.
baking a cake. You can't break the eggs, throw them in a bowl, and then come back to them next week. The
Definitely.
eggs will be off. If you had to say, like, what would you say was your biggest takeaway out of the whole process so far for you?
I think when I said to you that I really need to find myself again, find me, and I think I'm not there yet completely, but I'm on the way there. Like I said, I know how to make myself happy. I felt very emotionally dependent on other people, but not anymore. Definitely not anymore. I feel I see things very differently. Um, I'm just at that point where if I want it to affect me, it's gonna affect me. If I don't want it to affect me, it's not gonna affect me.
Now, that sounds outstanding. It might make a few people jealous, and of course, people go, "But how's it possible? How's it possible?" Ah, okay,
It
like I
is.
said,
It is.
it
Definitely is.
definitely is possible, and most of the time you only realize it's possible afterwards. Yeah, well, fantastic. Well, seeing that you were brave enough to be nominated first, I wouldn't say you went first. Unless there's other questions, do you have any other questions for us, or is there anything that you want to say?
No, I think
No.
that's about it. Just overall, I am feeling good. I think it says a lot about me, and it's a good pick me up. Very good pick me up.
Well, that's why. Would you say that like, because there's lots of people on the process? Would you say it was an individual process, or was it only because there was a big group there?
No, I would say it's both. It's both. Um, I definitely think that it makes a world of difference to participate. Not only that, there's so many people around you that, I mean, like they became family, although we only knew each other for such a short period of time, but we all knew that we're there for a reason. We were all there for different reasons, but somehow it was the same. And that made a difference. We really did support each other, pick each other up. I mean, like on the third day, Maritha actually she brought this little jar of hearts, which her son gave to her. And she gave us each one little heart. And I think that was just so amazing. I mean, that was like from her, which it really made it extra special. So I think the people around you plays a big part, but also you yourself, both. So I would definitely say both.
Definitely both. Well, like I say, we'll probably come back to you if we need to.
Okay.
But yeah, who gets to go after you? Who goes next? And if you have any questions, just make
Um,
sure you put your hand up and you wave or whatever.
Sarah. I want to hear from Sarah.
There we go. Once again, it's a terrible system, but it works like a bomb.
Hello. Thanks, Taskia. Really appreciate it.
How was the workshop? I know everyone says it's really easy. And yeah, just tell us your experience, how you're feeling afterwards. And as I say, it's a space to be open. It's everyone likes to think that we'll get on this call and everyone's like super stoked and all the rest of it. It's whatever it is. And at the same time, we also got to take a look at the perspective we're coming from. We just want to know how you're doing. Or let me ask you the question like this: do you think that going through breakthrough was worth it for you?
Oh yeah, no, definitely. I think that also, not to like minimize that answer, but it'll always be worth it in my opinion, whether or not you're probably going to gain from it, but whether or not you do gain from it, that's it's an experience. Whether or not it creates good habits or bad habits or tools or no tools, it's an experience either way. And you meet amazing people and you break down, break through, sorry. It wasn't easy. I know some people believe, or not believe, for some people it is easy. It was not easy for me at all. It was fucking difficult. But I like to think that the difficult things are normally what make me as a person, and take like a lesson from, if that makes sense. Like, I'm glad it was difficult. If it was easy, I think I would have been like, well, then what was the point? No, I'm joking. Definitely worth it, hands down.
It sounds fantastic.
Yeah, guys,
It sounds
10 out of 10
fantastic.
recommend.
Yeah, exactly.
My week's been okay. I wouldn't say it's better. Well, I can actually say the downs haven't been as down or as long as before. I can feel a lot lighter, a lot quicker, and I can handle situations that normally would stress me out or make me feel shitty a lot easier, and not take it so personally and try and view it from someone else's perspective, that kind of thing, which is really helpful. It's like I said, I'm really excited to do more, because I can see there's a lot more to gain through the experience, and I'm very keen to learn and to go through more of this process. Not that breakthrough isn't enough, but for me personally, it's not enough. No, but it was awesome. It's so nice. It was really nice to meet all of these people and to actually find out that people actually give a shit about you, even though you're a complete stranger, and people are willing to support you, even though you're a complete stranger. Like, that just blows my mind. That to me is a foreign concept. Like, I just like, it's still a struggle. Like, I still struggle because I'm like that. Like, I will support any other human, but for me, it was like, there's no ways anyone else would do that to me. I don't know. Well, you were all there, you understand. Definitely, like you said, worth it. Whereas now, after breakthrough, if I have these downs, which I've been having, I can actually deal with them because the tools are fresh in the back of my head, if that makes sense. I don't know. I feel like I'm rambling. I feel like it should be someone else's turn.
I think you're doing fantastic, and you put your finger on it for sure. Because again, it's do we have it? Sometimes people break down and cry through a breakthrough. Yes. But then here's the thing, is do we, on purpose, do we actually break you down? Do we attack you?
Not at all. And it definitely was the most potent part of the breakthrough for me. And it's the one that sits in my head the most, because never mind do I allow myself to be that vulnerable with myself. Never mind in a group and a room full of people.
Well, Laline put a message on the group towards Sarah, and even though she says, even though it was for you, you and Taskia are looking radiant, and I definitely agree. Definitely agree.
Oh.
Well, before you go, of course, this is where it gets exciting. Lizelle and Henry put their hand up. So Lizelle was first.
Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. You all look amazing. Sarah, Taskia, guys, you look so radiant. It looks like there's been a huge change in your lives. And to see you smile, Sarah, it is priceless. It's really priceless. How do you think you see your life, let's say, in only a month's time? What would you say? What would be better for you?
I think I'd like to be, I think what breakthrough will do for me, if is your question, like what I'd like or what I think will happen, or both?
My question to you is, how would your life, if you can project it in a month's time after breakthrough?
I think, because every day personally for me, every day seems to be an improvement in some ways. I think in a month, I'm really excited to feel a little bit more just, I don't know how to explain it, like airy, if that makes sense, like lighter. I'm feeling lighter day by day. So I think in a month's time, if this carries on, and I feel like in a month's time, I'll be so much more comfortable with myself, and a lot lighter, just like in my being, my soul. And it's going to be a good Christmas for the first time in a very long time. That much I can tell. So I'm excited for that.
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello.
So I think you have answered it before, but I just would like you to reiterate. Do you think because you found the process to be hard, that you appreciate the outcome so much more?
Yes. And I say this, this is all personal, obviously. And it's not to say that anyone else's experience was less because it was easy or whatever. For me personally, because it was so difficult, I appreciated so much more. So much more. That's a very good question, because that's so true. It's just, if it was easy, I think I would doubt not just it, but myself. So it being as difficult as it was a bonus. It really, really put things into perspective. That was a good question. Thank you.
And we look forward to you being on Chalice.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm very excited. Okay, can I nominate someone else now?
Yeah, well, that's how the system works. You get to nominate the next person.
Linda.
Thank you, Sarah. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me?
No. Yes, we can.
Thank you. It's so good to see you guys. I've actually really missed everyone in the group. I found myself thinking about all of you quite a lot. So I'm missing Martin, but it's really good to see the rest of you. And you, Andrew, your voice is embedded in my head this week. I even found myself doing some of your mannerisms when I was speaking to my family. I was like, did he creep inside me? I made some notes for a question. So I'm going to put my glasses on. But before I ask the question, I just wanted to answer yours, which was, what was my life like before and then after? So I think the biggest change for me was before I was quite resentful to some people in my life that I was blaming. So there was a lot of blame. And since Breakthrough, I have learned to not be so hard on myself and feel guilty that I was blaming them, and just say, well, that was then and this is now. So as long as I change that behavior and I don't blame anybody for any of my shit, the biggest thing is taking responsibility. And I found myself not being so angry. So I was like really angry with people that I was blaming, and angry with myself because I haven't achieved what I wanted to. So that anger seems to have gone. And I'm a little bit worried because it's been replaced by extreme euphoria. So, and that was where my question's going to come in. What the fuck am I going to do when the euphoria wears off? Am I going to have the tools to cope? Because I've been actually incredibly happy this week, which was one of the hardest weeks I think I've experienced in 2 years, because I had to admit my dad into a high care facility with hospice, because he's taken such a bad turn. So I found this week to be incredibly challenging emotionally, but I was amazed at how well I handled it. I think before Breakthrough, I would have just fallen apart. So I am emotionally exhausted. I haven't had a chance to actually rest after the weekend because I was thrown into some other turmoil. So I'm actually completely exhausted, and usually I'll just be crying now. I get all emotional and just be crying, but actually I feel stronger. So I feel stronger, and I feel mostly stronger because I'm taking responsibility, which is a funny thing, because you'd think you'd feel scared because you've got so much responsibility now that you were pushing on everyone else. I actually feel so much more empowered and stronger because I've got a lot of shit to deal with, and it was my shit. And now I've got to get out there and fix it. And that elephant, biting it one day at a time. Whoa, the elephant is bigger than this whole room, and the bites are still bite size. Some days they big bites, but this week they've been very small. But I'm just trying to be kind to myself, because everybody's got a flipping elephant, I always thought mine was bigger. Clearly not. We've all got our shit. And lastly, I feel a lot more like I'm not going to take any shit. I feel like even with people I'm dealing with on phone, people that are phoning for those like calls, like, do you need insurance and that, I'm so much more polite, but in my own quieter way, stronger and more like, no, I don't want to take your call, but in a nice way. And I think, Andrew, you've also broadened my vocab. So my choice of words are a lot better. You know, an example would be when I had a little bit of a, I won't say confrontation, but discussion with my eldest son, who pushes the boundaries a lot. I chose words as respond instead of react, you know, and I'd say, but you're reacting now, and, you know, you should perhaps try responding, or maybe we should just have some time apart and think about it, and then I'll hear your response. So you've opened up some vocab that is very tangible for me now, that I can throw in, and I seem to feel that people are understanding me better, so the communication is definitely better. Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. No shit, taking responsibility, and there's a lot of euphoria, which I'm still a bit concerned about, because, you know, well, you did say some oak that you spoke to a while afterwards, like 6 months, was like, I'm still so happy. So I hope I'm going to be that person. But if not, I'll definitely be speaking to Maritha.
Well, you can phone me in 6 months and see how it goes.
Yeah.
See how it's going. Invariably, that's the strange part about this process. I mean, I've obviously watched it over many years. And watching it over many years, this stays with you. I mean, even if you look at your boot, I mean, how long ago did your boot do this? It's more than 20 years ago. The stuff stays with you. It's,
yeah, Jeff, if you hear, I'm very cross that you didn't take me with you 20 years ago.
I'm very sure he opened the door for you. We were just blind and deaf at that stage. Because I was in the same position many times. I mean, I said to people, why do I need this? I don't need this. I mean, come on, who needs stuff like this? And that's what I said. And now suddenly I find myself presenting the work. So it's a very, very interesting perspective. Most of the time it's available for us. It's been lying in front of us for years, but we miss it. And at that stage, we don't think that it's not that anything's wrong with us. We just don't see that the bigger benefit. And it's something that I'm working on now. I'm busy building the next podcast or another podcast. And it's one of the things that, you know, because we haven't seen it before, or because we get jaded, you know, we always hear about planes that crash, but we don't have a parade for every plane which is landing normally. So, yeah, you get organizations out there that, you know, do weird stuff, and people have really, really bad experiences. And those are the ones on the news. So when you hear about a place where you can go and get your, you know, sort out your mind, people get nervous. They don't know what this experience is like until they've gone through the experience. So it's one of those hurdles which we've got to cross. It's something that we deal with all the time. And at the same time, you know, it's always the question you can say, yeah, can you imagine if you did do this 20 years ago? What do you think your life would look like then?
Well, luckily, I've got 100% of my life still to live. And I think you're 100% correct with that.
It's a strange statistic, but it's very true. And that's one of the things. There's no age limit to this. There's no age limit to this. I've worked with children who are 12 years old, and I've worked with adults, grannies and grandpas who are 84 and older. So you're never too old to do this work. And it's interesting. One of the grannies, which was here a little while ago, she was in a wheelchair. But even to the point through the workshop, she found a way to get out of a wheelchair and managed to walk around. And she said it was one of the best days of her entire life. So it is one of those things. It's the same thing. We've got to, we listen to Sarah, we listen to Taskia and everyone else. And it is a fear we have that will this feeling stay with me? And I'm talking about the good feelings. And at the same time, will the tools be in us? On one level, the tools are in you because you've already found them working without you actually actively trying to make the tool work. And at the same time, the other side of it is even if you find yourself slipping, you now know that there's a place, or that there's another way, or that you can go back to your book. You can refer to your notes. You can, you have tools. You have a different way, a different perspective. So that will always be with you. And if you're really having a tough time, then of course, reach out to people around you, reach out to your friends, reach out to your group, reach out to the people that get you on a new level. And you'll invariably find the support there will be very different to the standard stuff that you've had before. And oftentimes, I mean, I know that I even speak from my own personal experience. if my dad had gone through this process when I offered it to him, he'd probably still be alive. And I mean, now he's been dead for almost 9 years. And it's a weird thing to say, but a change of attitude can really change a complete path of your life. We don't know how it would have turned out because that's not how it turned out. And listening to your week that you've had this week, these things are tough. In many ways, we always say to ourselves, like, thank goodness that I did this experience at this stage. Because, I mean, you already said how you would have experienced it or handled the situation. But yeah, I look forward to a call in 6 months and see if you are still happy or euphoric. The possibility is very strong because all we got to do is simply make the choice between how would we prefer to feel. The plane does land a little bit, of course it does. You know, once you go to a higher altitude, it just like you drop down to a little bit of a cruising altitude, and then that becomes your new normal. And then what's in front of us is we want to take it to the next stage. Breakthrough is literally just the first step on a very long ladder. And that's what we sort of spoke about, where people come back again and again just to revisit the content, to hear it differently, to hear it again. The way it happened was Taskia was on a few breakthroughs ago, and just the way life happened, she couldn't complete at that stage. So it's nothing that I advocate, and it's nothing that we do on a normal basis, but there are emergencies. And of course, the door stays open for you to return based on those circumstances. And coming back, you just pick it up. And even from the beginning, everything wasn't exactly in the mind because it was, you know, every time you have your first touch, you only gain about 3%. So, yeah. And if you look at how much you gain out of that, that percentage is massive. It carries a lot of weight. So I'm super stoked to hear from you. I'm super glad that everything's working out and that there's a little bit of a shift. And you did right, taking responsibility for a lot of stuff in our life, or just taking responsibility for our lives. For most people, it's terrifying. And in the beginning, it sounds like it's crazy making. The thing is, when we see what it really means, what is responsibility or taking responsibility in our life, what does that really mean? When we get what it really means, it just puts you in the driver's seat. It's really an empowering thing. Here's a question for you if you had to look at it like this. Do you think breakthrough is let's say, a disempowering course, or does it take your power away, or is it massively empowering? Which way would you put it? And give me your experience in that.
Massively empowering, you know. Wow, it's like somebody opened a door, you know, or switched on a light. Somebody switched on a light. And it's not even just as that it's empowering, like Sarah was saying, it's quite amazing to see how people you don't even know can support you, and how, you know, human beings can support each other. And even that's empowering. So not only that there are people there to support you, but that you can support anybody. And that also makes you feel stronger, you know, because giving does make you feel better. So it's it changes your mindset in a lot of ways. I can't wait to be a facilitator, to learn more. You know, I'd love to be on the other side, because I think there's still so much to learn. No, I can't wait. I really can't. I was exhausted, absolutely exhausted after the course, but I was like sad it was over. I wanted more. I think I may, you know, be tapping into my addictive personalities here. So I might be very much like my brother, and we'll be chatting for 20 years. I think I'm here for the long haul. Be careful. The chatty one is going to be around for a while.
That's okay. The door is always open. For me, the way I personally look at it, and I mean, I share this with everyone. Anyone who needs support, or anyone who wants to just take their life further, that's what the support is about. And it's taking your life further for you. So if you're gonna, you know, if you want to be around more, and the way I look at it is, for me personally, the happiness and happy feelings are extremely addictive, and it's a wonderful way to feel. And at the same time, it's also, when we have that experience, it's wonderful to have more. You see, Kamika says, Linda, this is the best thing you can get addicted to. Yeah, it's better than most hard drugs.
Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful news. Wonderful news. Anything else? Do you have any other questions or anything else? Sorry?
I just wanted to say something else. You know, like I was obviously really considering going to like counseling and psychologists and blah, blah, blah. And I actually feel that I felt safer with these strangers that I now call my friends. I felt safer being vulnerable and opening up and talking about all sorts of shit going on in my life than I actually would have probably with months and months of one-on-one with a psychologist. So that's to all of you guests out there that, you know, are thinking about doing the course. I think value for money, you won't get better, because I don't even want to go down that road of how much a psychologist is an hour. And then, like as Sarah said, like, you know, if you don't really like them or they're not swinging it your way, then you just switch to another one. Well, with you, Oaks, we couldn't just swing it another way. I tried to run out the room, but I was called back in. So, yeah, you got to face your fears and let your guard down and let other people in. And, you know, it's scary and it's not fun, but afterwards, yeah, it's so worthwhile. So worthwhile. And I do have a question, but I feel like I'm hogging the screen.
No, not at all.
I don't know if I should just do my question now, because it's a bit of a personal question, or must I wait till everybody's chatted about their week and then ask the question?
It's totally up to you. I mean, unless someone else wants to interrupt you and go, otherwise go for it.
Okay, so my question is, you know, when you're doing a clearing, and so you're listening to the other person, and obviously with the mouth zipped and you're not commenting and not flinching and not even raising your eyebrows, no matter what it is they're saying. So what, if I'm understanding it correctly, what you're doing is to show somebody that you're giving them support, you know, without offering advice, without trying to help them, without trying to dive in, without interrupting them, and letting them know that you're listening, you're actually listening and hearing what they're saying. So now what my question is so now, like, you've done a clearing and you've heard what's on their mind and what's going good and what's, you know, what they're carrying. And now some of it relates to you and you need to like respond, obviously not straight away. So you give it a bit of a break to think and process what they've said. And I think formulate your response so that it's not offensive and so that you can communicate more clearly in that. And the main thing is that your response isn't coming from a place of anger. So what is it like? Do you give it a day or two? Like, what advice could you give me? How does it work? Like, I did a big clearing with my husband on Wednesday. Today's Thursday. I'm wondering, like, should we go for a walk tomorrow? And then I respond to what he spoke about in our clearing. Like, that's what I'm a bit, you know, I don't want it to be confrontational. But, and the clearing is not really, is it just for him to tell me how he's feeling? Am I not supposed to respond? Because some of the stuff he said, the stuff he was carrying, I feel like I needed to respond to because it involved me. I'm a bit like, I need a bit of a tool there, please, Andrew.
Of course, the things that he spoke about was about you, because you're in his life. So, of course, they're going to speak about you. And oftentimes they'll even push your buttons. And they might even say things which you feel are super offensive or super unfair. The question you've got to ask yourself, and this is a question that I even have to practice in my own life, is whatever you're going to respond, is this going to serve you as being right, or is it going to get you to where you want to be? Now, those two things, or that question on its own, changes your response, because you don't have to hold back your anger. You don't have to hold back your response in that sense. The thing is, if you give yourself a day or two to at least ruminate on something, think about it, most of the time you'll find your response will be different anyway. Because when we're responding out of an emotion, and when we're responding out of anger or frustration, it's going to come across like that, and we're generally going to feel like, or the person on the other side is going to feel like they're being attacked. And the moment that they feel attacked, it's the same as I can use it the other way. The moment you feel attacked, you'll become defensive. The moment the other person feels attacked, they'll become defensive. And now suddenly we're not in a conversation anymore. We're in a battle. And the question is, do we want to win a battle or do we want to win a war? And sometimes we win a lot of battles, but we lose the war by getting divorced. So the thing is, do you want to win a battle or do you want to win a war? And if it does have anything to do with you, think about it. Just because they say something about you doesn't mean it's true. There are a lot of people out there which have a completely different opinion about me. Doesn't mean it's true. Doesn't mean it's true. And if they do, first thing you got to do is listen. Listen first. Think about it. And then ask yourself, is this really mine or is it theirs? What can I do about it? How can I serve them? If you just slow the process down, remember, what we're doing is you're prying open a gap. And it's in that gap that you have the power to choose. And you can either choose to destroy something or you can choose to create something. It's coming from that perspective. It doesn't mean that you need to be emotionless. It doesn't mean that you need to sit still and take it. It doesn't mean that they can be abusive and nasty to you. But here's the thing. This is very important. And this is what I kind of hear. If you're in a space where he was in the position where he could be open with you and say those things to you, and you made it safe enough for him to share that, and he didn't feel that he had to defend himself, you've made the biggest progress ever. Because especially coming, and I can speak from a man's point of view, coming from a man's point of view with the ability to talk to the woman in their life, and it works both ways, of course it does. But just creating that space is safe, that I can say a few things. Just oftentimes, most of the time, the other person, just by getting it off your chest, like you think about it and it's like, okay, now that this is off my chest, it doesn't necessarily mean that I need to do that thing or behave that way. Sometimes I just want to get it off my chest. But the thing is, for as long as I'm holding on to it, I'm going to keep thinking about it. And the longer I think about it, then I want to do something about it. So when we open up the door for a clearing, and just for those on the call, a clearing is just a space to clear a space. It's a safe place where you get to speak your piece without being interrupted. Because that's the most part. Most of the time we get interrupted. So there's always stuff for discussion. There's always the door to keep talking about things. And that's the whole point is once you've cleared the space and you say, okay, this is my take, where I'm coming from, how I feel, what I'm carrying, what's working, what's not working. And then we just leave it alone for a bit. I mean, as you get better at it, you can deal with it in the moment. But most of the time when a person says, oh, I really want to say something about this, that's already coming out of an emotional response, especially at the foothills, especially when this stuff is new. Because most of the time we are uncalibrated. Most of the time we are not calm while we're having this clearing, or if you're getting emotional while it's going on, then that shows that there's something that they're hitting inside of you. And emotion will only be triggered inside of you if that thing exists. So if you're emotional, then it's a case of, cool, thank you, I didn't say it like that. Think about it and then make a choice. And the choice can still be, you can say to the person, look, I know that you want me to do it differently. However, over time, while I've been thinking about this, I'm not sure how else I can do it differently. So here's the thing. I don't know how I'm going to do it differently from now on. And if you'd like me to do it differently, then I'd like some suggestions. Open the door for a conversation. See, maybe they've got a new idea which you've never thought of before, might change everything. Or they'll throw a couple of ideas at you which don't land and they're not for you. And you just say, look, I'm sorry, I just can't do that. This is the same as being in a job. You know, your boss can ask you to do something. Doesn't necessarily mean that you need to do it. And especially if it's outside of your scope, just because they have the idea. Or the worst, and this is really coming from my personal opinion, when you ask someone, okay, so you don't like the way I'm doing something or you want something to be different. Have you got a suggestion? No, I don't have a suggestion. Well, then how about this? Until you have a suggestion, then we're currently going to continue in a particular direction, or I'll think about it, but I'm not sure how I can change. Here's the thing. If this is your thing, I'm really trying to match your picture or do it your way. So until you have a suggestion or know what your way is, then this is where it's going to go. And we need to open the door for negotiation. Remember, it's not about compromise in a relationship. Compromise in the relationship is very bad for a relationship, especially long term. It's about opening a door to negotiate and to communicate. Most of the time, the stuff that I'm doing or the other person's doing, they're just doing their thing. They don't even know that it's irritating the person around them or that it's pushing their buttons. You know, it's like someone taking the milk out the fridge. They make a coffee and they always leave the milk on the counter. You know, we always think to ourselves, what, were you raised by wolves or something? I mean, really, who does this stuff? The thing is, until they're actually aware of what they're doing, that most of the stuff is completely unconscious to them because they're just doing their normal habitual behavior. It's a habit for them. For them to change their habit, they need to crowd it out with a new one. And this works two ways. It works both ways, from their position to your position. And I'll say it one more time. If you're in a space where your man who's never done the work, was very suspect about what you were doing, where you were, if he was in a place where he could share something to the point that it did push your buttons or something that you need to talk about, that's a wonderful thing because you've just demonstrated that you are capable of making the space safe for him to talk. And that's the first thing that we need. How do we make the space safe? Just so that I can communicate, just so that I can talk. And I might use bad language in the sense that it might sound attacking. It might sound like it's blaming. Sure. Learn a new language, educate the person, share with the person. You know, when you say this, I feel. When you say it this way, it feels like you're blaming me. Is that the way you're doing it? Are you really trying to blame me, or are you just trying to get the opinion out of your head? Most of the time, the person's saying, no, I'm just trying to get out of my head. I have this often with, Afrikaans clients, and they've got they've got an English spouse or something like that. So the language barrier is different, and the language construction or your sentence construction is different. And they'll use things like, no, you must and you have to. And the person on the other side of that conversation gets so upset, and they go, but I don't must and have to. It's just a language thing. It's a conversion. So we need to learn a new language. You got to give the person, remember the other stuff. They need to know how to change. They need to want to change, and you need to give them a chance to change. Give them a chance. Give them a chance. Let it land first, and then pick it up from there. Does that support you? Is that something? I don't know if it supports people on the call.
Perfect. I had to write some more notes to remember it. Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, it's a pleasure, and it really is. It's a practice in the beginning. Remember, it's like, again, like a tennis serve. You start practicing, and then suddenly you get it, and you think, oh my gosh, I got this, and then suddenly you make a serve, and it looks more like you've hit a home run out of the tennis court. We're going to make a mess of it. We'll make a mistake. Practice, practice, practice. And that's why in the beginning, you just stick to the step-by-step stuff. Keep it small, keep it light. And then as you get deeper, as you get more advanced, and this is the beauty about it, and I know that this group will appreciate this, the mastery level of rules, or knowing what a structure is when you get to that good level, you will know when it's appropriate to kind of bend a structure. So you don't necessarily have to sit with the 3 questions: what's not working, what is working, what are you carrying? You can literally walk past and go, it really worked for me when I left the milk on the counter. It really worked for me when you saw it, you put it back. Thank you. It's just that simple. And that person in that moment feels acknowledged. And then they go, ah, cool. And I'll tell you, from a man's point of view, when a woman says that to them, they remember that, because it's like, oh my gosh, I scored points with her. Do it all the time. So stroke their hair, give them the little Scooby snack. I know it sounds very immature, and it drives me insane that I got to kind of dip to that level. But it works. It works. And at the very base level, we all enjoy it. We all enjoy it when someone recognizes when we've done something so small that, someone who's not observing doesn't see it. It's almost like the point where the woman she goes away, she comes back, and there's something different. And she's going, what's different? Meanwhile, she just had her hair blow waved. And most men will miss it completely. Yeah, exactly. You're laughing because you know exactly what I'm talking about. Where the observant one goes, oh, I see that you've done your hair. You've either colored it or you changed your shirt or something like that. And just by acknowledging it, going, your hair looks awesome. Or even, I see your hair looks different. In that moment, we feel like, oh, the person around me is paying attention to me. Just start small. And you'll be amazed at how those little small things build into something very big. That's how we build a house. If you look at a brick, I can hold a brick in my hand. But, the size of a house is a lot bigger than that. So the house is built out of a lot of bricks. Look at it like that. Do little small things and build on top of it.
Thanks, Andrew.
Now,
Can I please choose Maritha to talk to?
Of course you can.
From? I got a heart for her.
Oh, there we go.
I can't give it to her through the computer. The heart lady.
Fantastic. Yeah, then Maritha, you're next. So then, just don't forget to mute your microphone. And I didn't see any other hands up. So, Maritha, it's up to you. Goodbye.
Oh, well. Hi, Andrew. Now, hi, Linda. I'm so pleased with you, Linda. And thank you very, very much. Much appreciated, the heart. It's really, really nice. So thank you very much for that. And it's so nice to see everybody and to hear the experiences the last few days. It's really comforting. And Sarah and Taskia, well done. And Linda, yes, you're growing so much. It's really, really nice to see that and to hear from you. And yes, the fact that we still struggle and we still have our insecurities, but it got better. So from Friday, starting to getting my power back, and I was in a meeting and the same day, and I did certain talking and things at that meeting that I just think it was me. And then today I heard from my academic head, she said to me, something changed in you. I really appreciated it. She saw me on Friday look at, because there was some complicated things that we need to talk over and to talk through, and there was some negativity in the room, and I started to just say to them, okay, so let us see how we can change this and help us to do it another way, and not just being negative about it. And she said today to me, she said, you know what, Maritha, it's really nice to see that, and to see, I'm not sure what it is, but it was a very good thing to get the negativity out of the room. So that was a big compliment to me. And thinking about it, it was the beginning was getting my power back on Friday morning. So yeah, and the most important thing is that for us, it is just to start talking to our children, and we talk the same language now. So we can sit around the table with Ian and talk through things and just have the same language, how to do this. And yes, Linda, not having this, we have the tool now to do the clearing, but it's with Ian, it's a big help for us to just do it another way and to think about this. So yeah, it's a very, very nice thing for us to do. And as I said today during my performance review, having the people around me, for me, it's really nice to see how we can support each other. And I will definitely go out and tell people, the more you do it and the more people around you doing it, the more you talk the same language, and the more you can get through difficult conversations. And yeah, not turn it into an argument that do a lot more damage than just sit around and as you said, Andrew, as you said, the most important thing for the way you said, okay, that you left the milk out, okay, and I was just sitting here smiling, and I said to myself, okay, you know what, that's a way to do it. It's not necessarily that you will sit and say, okay, you know what, we need a clearing. So it's time out, we need a clearing now. But by just seeing somebody do something that's irritating to you, and it turns into a positive. So, and just say that, okay, you know what, this is irritating me, but I see you changed it. So thank you for that. Thank you. Okay, it's just another way of saying that. So thank you for that. But yeah, I learned a lot, and I really looking forward to doing Chalice. And yes, it's really meeting such a lot of nice people and supporting each other. And it's really nice for me to be out there to help people and talking to somebody and say, you know what, I'm there for you. I'm not sure how I can help, but I'm there for you. And that's nice. For me, it's nice to just support the rest of the group whenever they want to talk. I'm there for them. So yeah, I think, I learned a lot and I grow a lot, and I really excited about growing more. Andrew, and I must say, you can be irritating at sometimes. And I must say that to you. But I learned a lot, and that's good. Especially when you ask more and more and more, and then you feel, you know what, I'm starting to cry now, but it's necessary to do that as well. So yeah, thank you for that as well. It was a very nice experience.
It's my pleasure. You also forgot I could be offensive.
Andrew.
I'm just joking, of course. I mean, come on.
I know. The thing is, the way you're doing it, you do it so subtle. In the end, you really grow, and that's a very good skill that you do have. So thank you for that.
And thank you very much. One of those things that, I mean, we literally just spoke about it. You know, when someone can actually see you, and then they notice a difference, they notice something. And that's the first thing. They've got to notice the difference. And then the next stage of where they can actually say something. So if you've already been in an environment where people look at you and say something's different, or they notice something has changed, that change is huge. It's huge. So well done. Well done. And it is. It takes lots of courage. And yeah, that's exactly what I'm here for. I mean, the way that I see the work that we do, I know it's tough, and I know sometimes it can get very sticky and can be very uncomfortable. It could be, could also be very easy. At the same time, the bottom line, I look at it going, what is the result that we're going to get to? What is it something that you can use tangibly in your life when you go? Are you going to, if you get put into a hot spot, you know, if you get dropped into hot water, you know how strong you are. So if you get dropped into hot water after you've been in the course, you know how strong you are. So the hot water doesn't burn you as much as it used to, or it doesn't bother you at all. That's the most important thing for me, is that we look out the other side, regardless of the judgments of myself. So thank you for the feedback. And at the same time, it's a case of, as long as you got what you needed and what you were looking for, that's the important part. That's the important part. So thank you. I don't know if anyone has any questions, or otherwise, Maritha, you get to nominate who goes next.
Okay. Yes, I'm obviously going to ask my husband to go next.
Okay, shoot.
Good evening. Hello, Andrew and the rest. Nice seeing you all again. I've got a few stories that I would like to share. The first is about this guy in a mental institution that was bumping his head against the wall. And they asked him, but, you know, after that too, they asked him, but why do you do that? And he said, well, it's so nice when I stop. So I think breakthrough is a bit like that. My memory, are you still there?
We are definitely still here. You've got me riveted. and you're dead right. It's like putting on ice skates. You know, you wear ice skates so that you can, when you take the ice skates off, it's that feeling of like, oh my gosh, it's so good. Yeah, so we do definitely bash our heads against the wall. So keep going. I love it.
So the longer it's over, the better it becomes. So my memories are really better now than it was on day one. So that's the one story. The other story is, I heard today this guy came home with a card for his wife, and the card was a get better soon card. And she told him, but I'm not sick. He said, yes, I know, but you can be better. So I think that's also very much a breakthrough story. I'm fine, but I can be better. So I'm still fine, but I'm getting better. And I'm really, yeah, I'm living now in the post breakthrough pre-chalice phase. So I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the journey, and I'm curious about what's lying ahead. So yeah, my memories are very fond. And the other thing is, if I got to put a label for myself that I found sort of what do you call it? Not
awesome.
That I find sort of liberating is the comfort of strangers. You know, how much comfort and support you can get from people you don't know at all. And that was really something new to me. You know, it's not the environment we live in. Our daily lives doesn't allow you to be comfortable with strangers. But I do think breakthrough has changed that and make you appreciate that, you know, we're all human. We can be there for each other. And I think that makes a huge difference. Yeah, so I'm in a good space still. The environment, my son told me that I'm more loving than before, and that's the first time in a long time that somebody else than Maritha told me that. So that's sort of an environmental feedback. So no, it's going well. Thank you very much, and thanks a lot for your input. And I mean, it's a mind shift and a mind opener. I really appreciate it and I enjoy it.
And thank you to you. Thank you very much for being here. Thank you for taking the risk with us and in a way trusting us with your family, because you sent your children to us first. So it's a big.
it's testing the water.
You send them away and you see if they come back. Sometimes we're not sure if it's a good thing.
That's exactly what.
But that's also a good thing. You see, Andrew, that's also a good thing because they get us curious, and we're not allowed to talk to them. So, or they were not allowed, or they just say, find out for yourself. So they get us really curious. So yeah.
Well, then, yeah, in essence, it's the same thing what Linda asked earlier. It's very different when we start having a common language. And it's not about Afrikaans or English or anything like that. It's about the way we communicate. And we come from a common experience. It's a very, very important thing. And that's also why when we have a common experience and someone disappears and they're the first, and they do come back different, suddenly we don't have that in common anymore. So that changes the dynamic a little bit. But here's a question. I do have a question for either of you, in the sense that oftentimes I get told or I get asked, are there people there? Do we work in a group? And it makes people very uncomfortable. In the beginning, we are uncomfortable, but would you experience it, or would you prefer it that there was no one else there, that it was just either yourself one at a time, or is it better in a group?
I personally feel that the experience can't be the same on the individual level. That's when you go to a psychologist. So I think part of the power of this whole process is the association with other people. And I think that we all got issues and we all got problems, and we've got different ways of expressing it. So although it's uncomfortable initially, I think the fact that you don't know the people makes it a bit easier. I think it was colleagues or family members, it might have been a bit more difficult. But I think the fact that it's a group is essential to the... Sorry, I'm on duty, so Ian will take the call. So I think it's essential that there should be other people. I don't think it can be done without.
Thank you.
Okay.
I think so too.
I'm not going to keep you. Apparently you're on duty, so someone's phoning. I don't know who else is on the call. Who's next?
It will be Brandon.
It will be Brandon, I think.
And Brandon, you're up. And Jannie, Maritha, bye, donkey. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, how are you?
That'll be fantastic. You're looking good.
Okay, I'm okay. It's been it's been a week, I guess. But yeah, thanks for the support. It was definitely stepping out of your comfort zone, which I've never experienced before. It's daunting, I guess. But yeah. And I think it's mostly to do with the fact that I know what to do with them, and yet I choose the easier route, So I'm just busy learning, busy studying all the info, trying to make something of it. But yeah, I'm sure things have been tough.
Well, I don't really listen to gossip, so sometimes people think that I know everything. I know a lot about the stuff that I do, but very little about the gossip in people's lives. But here's the thing: is even though it has been tough, do you think that Breakthrough has given you any tools, or would you rather go back to last week before or the week before that you didn't know anything about Breakthrough, and then just let your life be tough like that? Which would you rather have?
I do believe that Breakthrough gave me tools. I'm afraid to say it almost gave me too many. So now I'm in this position where I think I know, but I don't know. So, but I need to know how to know. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm so tired. I've had a hectic week, and I've had a lot to deal with, I guess. But I'm taking it one bite at a time. Yeah.
Well, if you don't know what to say, I'll just ask you quick questions. Would you recommend Breakthrough to anyone, or do you think that this is a good Afrikaans saying, a klomp kak?
No. It's definitely not a klomp kak. Funny story. One of my colleagues is well, how can you put this? She's gonna join in on the cult. So no, I'm just kidding. But yeah, she is actually gonna attend either December or Jan. So yeah, she apparently saw a lot of changes happen. So but I still think I've got a long way to go. But yeah, my thing was to connect with my wife, and I've taken the wrong advice, I guess, and I've made life more difficult instead of made it easier. So yeah.
When you say wrong advice, who have you been listening to?
I've been listening to myself.
Oh my gosh, it's the last thing to do.
Yeah.
You see, now this is where
Yeah,
learning
it's,
occurs. It's like, listen to the different voices in your head.
Yeah, I've been at battle with myself for the past few, what's it now, 5 days, I guess. So yeah, but I'm aware of things now. So it was a positive experience. I had a lot of fun. I've never felt so open before. That I can say for sure. I mean, nobody has pushed me. Well, you didn't push me, but you helped me to push myself. And that I enjoyed a lot. But I think I've got a lot to learn. I think I've got more issues than I initially thought, and I've been pushing them down all these years. And now that I've become aware of what's happening or what's up with my emotions, I think I got a bit cocky. So yeah. I got a bit cocky, that's for sure.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Yeah.
Look, that's one of the things is we've always, I mean, it's difficult to admit to ourselves that we've got issues. And in the bigger scheme of things, we're actually doing very well. We don't really have those big issues. We tend to have a lot of issues because we are complex creatures. And the moment that we go to a particular level, we just push the level higher. It's the same thing with having a salary. In the beginning, you're getting paid whatever it is. We generally push our expenses to match the income. And as we get more, we just match more expenses. So on one side, I don't see us having that many issues. The thing is, it's exactly what you said. It's when we become aware of how we've been behaving, how that's been messing our lives up. Now, that's a completely different thing because those aren't actual issues. That's just an awareness process. And it's when we wake up, just because our eyes are open doesn't mean that I'm awake. It's when we wake up to this deal going, oh, is that what I've been doing? Or how about this? Now that I have a different way of doing it, I've just been doing it for so long. And now that I've become aware of it, and this is exactly the conversation that Linda and myself had earlier, is oftentimes all we need is awareness first. Because most of the time, and particularly with men, most of the time men are completely unconscious to what they're doing, what they're saying, and how they're behaving. And this works both ways because the same conversation that's had with men needs to be had with women. So it's the same conversation. Most of the time we are completely unconscious of what we've been doing. And so when we suddenly become aware of what we've been doing, now that changes the ballgame because now we can't have the excuse that I don't know any better. And this is when it gets tough. But that's one of the things. In many ways, we actually don't have that many issues. It's a level of awareness when we become aware that the world is so much bigger, so much brighter. Our life becomes so much richer. Now we're listening to songs and music completely differently because it has a lot more meaning to us. We are watching movies in a different light. We see a lot more behind the scenes. We're just more open. We're just more aware. And then once we are aware, we suddenly discover that, oh, have that question, is what I'm doing going to get me to where I want to be? Now that's the thing. That's the thing. And for the most part, remember, our voice has been bouncing around in our head all our life. That's the voice which has either created, a lot of success or a lot of challenges or problems in your life. And sometimes we just need to listen to a different voice, and it needs to be the one outside of our heads. And at the same time, just because someone outside your head says something to you doesn't necessarily make it so. So we've got to think about these things. We've got to listen to ourselves. We've got to listen to them. And we've got to evaluate our responses. And the bottom line for me is the question is this making my life richer? Is it getting better? Is this getting me closer to where I want to be? Do I want to be right, or do I want to get what I want? All of these things, it actually makes life in the beginning a lot more challenging. The thing is, it's the same as mining for gold. In the beginning, mining is not comfortable, and you're going to get dirty, you're going to get grimy. But when you find the nugget, it makes all of the mining worthwhile. And that's what we're looking for. That's what we're doing. It's very simple. So I don't know, anything else?
No, I think aside from the difficult week, I think I've got a lot to learn, but I've also learned a lot. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm quite happy. It was fun. It was a lot of fun.
Fantastic. Well, I'm not sure if there's any. There's Martin we're missing. I don't know if there's anyone else that we need to have on the call. I don't know if anyone else either has a question or a comment. Once again, we're not here to milk it. We just want to see how you're doing, make sure things are still going well. So we just want to basically see how everyone's doing, make sure everyone's doing well. And then, of course, if we see each other soon, that'll be great. And if we are going to, head towards Chalice is just a different board of wax. We definitely go a lot deeper. The intensity is different and all of those things. So, and I don't know if there's any guests on the call that have any other questions, or they just, most of the time we got the lurkers, they just want to lurk, voyeur a little bit and see. So, there you go. There's a lurker turning on a camera. Awesome.
Now, I just want to comment, Sarah, because we're sitting here and she looks so different. I just want to say well done, Sarah. I'm not sure what's happening, but she really looks good.
Aww. Thank you. Now you see, you're making me go red.
Okay, cool. Well, we're not just to stretch us out. And I know every now and again, then it gets quiet and awkward. So I know that there are other assistants on the call. And Katrina, I don't know if you would like to say anything or share anything or ask anything. I know that it's always a nice space to listen to, the chief Gestapo, just to, it's all of these, the people at the back. I don't know if she actually does.
Hi, everyone.
Are you there?
No, I didn't.
Go.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Sorry, I joined a little bit late, but rather late than never. No, I think you're all, I think I actually only missed Taskia's sharing, but Taskia, you look great. So I suppose it's going well as well. But I just want to say again, well done, all of you. I totally agree. You do look and sound different, and that's awesome. And we are looking forward to see you on assisting. It's really something else and something different from the back. And you can, as I said earlier, this is the best place to get addicted to something. It's just, you can't, me personally, I can't hear this enough. I have been assisting a lot, and every time I'm just going like, oh gee, I forgot that again. So it's really awesome to just come back and assist. It's awesome seeing it from another angle, and it will really serve you. Cool. So thank you.
Cool. Okay, well then what I'm going to do is I'm going to say thank you to everyone who made the call, and thank you for everyone who participated last week. And here's the thing, remember, it's all still open. If you do need support, speak to your group, speak to your friends, speak to the people around you, and reach out to the assistants. And if you need any extra support, reach out to us. As I say, we're not here to be the only answer for everything, but it's a support network. We've now, in a very short space of time, we've now expanded our group of friends. We don't have to live in each other's pockets. We don't have to, be connected to each other all the time. But know that there are other people out there who share a common perspective, share a common experience, and can support you in a different way and get a totally different result. That's exactly what we're all about. So, I'm going to say thank you to everyone on the call, and thank you for the participation last week, and to the guests which are on the call. Thank you for coming. And yes, Andre's finally popped in. Hello, Andre and Natalie. There you go. Glad to see you guys pop in.
You all look fantastic. I just want to say, and it's a common feeling after breakthrough to come on the post course and see the participants who just finished, and just seeing all of you. I didn't see you last week, but I can definitely see a lot of you are glowing, and some of you may not know that you're glowing for whatever reason, but there's something going on. So as Katrina said, just continue your journey, come and assist. It's really, really an amazing experience.
And it's fun.
And it's lots of fun.
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much. So what we'll do is in a moment, I want us to all unmute your microphones, and just as we say goodbye, wave to the camera, go bananas, and make a noise, and then suddenly the call will just end. And I speak on the behalf of everyone.
Love you all.
Love you so much. Thank you, sir. See you guys soon. Remember, there's another breakthrough coming in December. You're all welcome to come and assist.